It is time for my monthly update. Here we go. Welcome back to the channel, Book Dragons. It is that time again. A new month is here, and I'm going to tell you all about how last month went and what I've got planned for this month, and we're going to have lots of fun. But before I do so, make sure that you like the video. If you enjoy it, please subscribe to my channel. That would be awesome if you have not already. Join my Discord where we can talk about all different kinds of topics that everybody loves to talk about regarding books, and we can even talk movies over there if you want to, adaptations of books. Anything is fair game there because, it's just a community of wonderful people that like to share their lives with each other and talk about all kinds of things. So I've even got a meme and cartoon section on there. So, if you want to share funny cartoons, you can do that too. So check out my Discord. Link in the description below. And now it is time to start my monthly update. We're going to start talking about books. We'll talk about what I read in August. We'll talk about what I plan to read in September. And then we'll move on to stuff that I've been watching and playing, and we'll talk about Chasm Friends. So you know the drill. You've been here before, I think. Maybe you haven't. If you haven't, this is your first time. Welcome, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. Okay, I'm rambling. Let's get to it. And I'm going to start by putting my eyes on so that I can look at my notes to remind myself of things I need to be reminded of. And so let's talk about August. The first book I want to talk about that I read in August was Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff. I will be doing a full review for this book, spoiler free of course. The nitty gritty is that I absolutely love this book. It is easily one of my best books of the year. I just absolutely adored this story. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, just thoroughly engrossed in the book. So, if you're wondering if you should pick up Empire of the Vampire, the answer is yes. If you want to see my full review, that will be coming here probably next week. There we go. The next book that I read in August was Mad Ship by Robin Hobb. And guys, I tell you what, I thought Ship of Magic was good. Mad Ship was equally as good, if not better, than Ship of Magic. I'm just absolutely loving the Light Ship Traders series. I just can't get enough of it. I am amazed at the increase in quality from the Farseer trilogy in this story, and I feel like this is going to be my favorite Robin Hobb so far. I really do. So we'll see. Eventually I'll get to Ship of Destiny, but until then, I had such a great time. I also read Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. This was a really fun book, very different book. I did a reading vlog for it, which I haven't done a reading vlog in a long time. So I did a reading vlog for it. And I also did a spoiler-free review. So that was my video this last Tuesday. If you want to check that out, you can check out my spoiler-free review for Piranesi. But I just really enjoyed my time reading it. I still think about it. I'm still kind of ruminating on it and trying to figure out, okay, exactly what happened in certain parts of that book, and I just thoroughly enjoyed the journey, and so I definitely want to read it again at some point as well. I also read And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. This is one of Agatha Christie's standalone mystery novels. And I buddy read this with my friend Mona Lisa over at Mona Lisa Reads. And this book was so good. I can see why it is one of Agatha Christie's most well-loved novels. So check out my review for that if you're interested as well. You can find that on my channel. And then the final book that I read in August was The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. This is the first book in the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series, and I have read this book before along with Sea of Monsters, but I never completed the series, and so I'm on a mission to reread the books and then finish out the series, because the Disney Plus series is coming out in December, and I want to see what they do with it. I want to be well prepared so I can watch the show critically and not enjoy it because I'm being so critical. No, I'm kidding. I have a feeling I will thoroughly enjoy the show, regardless of how faithful it is. But I have good feelings that this will be probably at least more accurate than the movies were. So I think it'll be fun. I hope so, and I really enjoyed rereading the book. I will be continuing Sea of Monsters at some point and then finishing out the series. But I wanted to at least get this one under my belt before the end of the year so that I'm prepared for the show. That was my sole impetus for doing so, even though I wanted to reread it at some point anyway. So there you go. I'm rambling again. Let's move on to September. I've got some hefty plans for September, and I thought about picking up Ship of Destiny in September, and I looked at the list of books that I'm wanting to read in September, and I'm like, I don't think it's wise. Chaz, don't overload yourself, please. For the sake of all that is good and unholy, please don't stress yourself out. So I think I'll be putting that off until October, unless I just get a bug up my butt and decide to do it anyway. But so that may be an elective. That may be one of the elective slots in September. But the books I am officially planning to read in September, the first one is The Darkness That Comes Before by R. Scott Baker. The video I did a while back where I speed dated 10 books on my physical bookshelf. This one came out really close. It was just barely edged out by Empire of the Vampire. So I knew I wanted to read this really, really soon. And Dan over at the Black and Blue Collared Reader, I will have his channel linked in the description below, is doing a read-along for this series, and so I'm like, I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon, I'm gonna do it, and I can't wait to get to this book. So it's not a super long book, it's about 400 pages, but the content I've heard is very heavy in terms of complexity, and so that's one reason I was like, I better not do Ship of Destiny, because I've got a lot of books like that on the list this month, it seems. So this is the first one. The next book on my list is Animal by Chad Nicholas. This is his brand new book. Chad is a self-published author. He has cranked out 2 bangers so far. One is Nightmare and the other is Shade, and this is his new book, Animal. I am so excited. He sent me an advanced reader copy, and I'm going to be reading that in September. It comes out October 3rd. So you can go forth and purchase it on October 3rd. You can even pre-order it. I highly suggest you do so. I can't wait to read Chad's new book. And hopefully I'll get a chance to talk with Chad about this new book at some point in the future as well. So that would be super cool. I'm also going to be reading A Time of Contempt. This is technically the 4th Witcher book, but it's the second of the full Witcher novels. The first 2 are just short story collections. Not to dismiss them at all, because they're extremely important to have under your belt before getting to the novels, in my personal opinion. But A Time of Contempt is the second of the major Witcher novels. And I am going to be buddy reading this with Nala over at Here There Be Stories. And I'm super excited to read this book with her, and if you want to check out her channel, I highly recommend it. She is such an awesome person and a delight to watch, so make sure you go and check out her channel. But yeah, she and I will be discussing this, and who knows, we might do a video on it, so we will see how that happens. The next book I'm going to read in September is The Changeling by Victor LaValle. I've had this on my TBR for a long time, guys. A long, long time. I'm a huge fan of The Ballad of Black Tom. I've read that at least twice, maybe three times. I kind of lost track of how many times I've read that book. It is phenomenal, and I wanted to branch out and read more of his books. And this is the perfect opportunity because Apple TV Plus is releasing an adaptation of The Changeling in September, so I'm like, I am going to read this book in September so that I can watch the adaptation right after it, and I might even do a dual review for both, the book and the adaptation, because I haven't done one of those in a while, and this seems a perfect opportunity. I'm super excited to see what The Changeling is all about, and I'm not going to tell you guys anything about it because, frankly, I don't know a whole lot about it, and I'm wanting to go into this book blind. Stay tuned for more once I've read the book. And then the last book on my list for September, not necessarily the last book I'm going to start, but it's the last book on the list, and that is The Alchemy of Masks and Mirrors by Curtis Craddock. My friend Fina over at Fina Reads is a huge fan of Curtis's books. She was the winner for my patron pick for this quarter. And so she selected this book for me to read, and I'm super excited. I've been wanting to try out this series for a long time, ever since I heard her talk about it on her channel, and I've heard other people talk about it since then as well. But yeah, I'm really excited to get to that book and read it. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the things I've been watching. And we're going to start with things that I've finished watching, whether it's movies or TV shows. And to start off, I watched An American Werewolf in London, followed by An American Werewolf in Paris. Yes, you heard me right. We watched them both in the same night. And it was my first time seeing either one of them. And I really enjoyed American Werewolf in London. I thought it was great. American Werewolf in Paris, not so much. I mean, I'm glad I watched it, but oh man, the schlock was heavy in the Paris version. Oh man, was it bad. It's one of those movies that you just love to sit there and talk shit about. It really is. But I'm glad I watched it. I probably wouldn't watch it again. American Werewolf in London, I might watch again. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. The next thing on this list that I watched was 28 Days Later. This is my first time seeing that movie as well. It's a zombie movie, takes place in England, and just a lot of fun. And I know there's a whole series. There's like 28 Weeks Later, and then 28 Years Later, I think, is coming out in the next couple of years or so. I know they've got it planned, so maybe that'll be a thing. I'm kind of getting over my aversion to zombie movies. Because for the longest time, I'm like, I don't want to watch anything with zombies in it. Not that they scare me, they're kind of boring to me. And they still kind of are, but I'm enjoying watching them more, I guess is what that comes down to. And the next one on this list is The Pale Blue Eye. I am a huge fan of Christian Bale. I have watched most of his movies and just absolutely love them. He's still one of my favorite Batman actors as well. He's so great. And so this is a gothic mystery. Takes place probably in the 1800s, right around there, late 1800s maybe. And he's hired onto a case to solve multiple murders. And a young Edgar Allan Poe is one of the characters in the story, and he kind of helps the detective solve some of these crimes. And there's a twist ending. Oh my gosh, guys, the twist ending. Watch it. It's on Netflix. You need to see it. It's such a great film. I also watched Crimson Peak with my daughter. I watched Pale Blue Eye with my daughter as well. And the other movies I mentioned with my daughter. But yeah, so we watched Crimson Peak together with Tom Hiddleston, and I forget the other actors in the movie, but it's a gothic horror movie. You can kind of sense the gothic theme, and it's just a fantastic movie, guys. I thoroughly enjoyed watching it, so if you have not watched that movie, you need to check it out. And then I rewatched Pan's Labyrinth. I watched it with my daughter. She had never seen it. I saw it when it was in the theaters many years ago, back when I was a young man. I really enjoyed Pan's Labyrinth the second time around, and it's just a fantastic movie. Highly recommend it. I won't say any more. Go watch it. You need to. We also finished watching Good Omens Season 2. We started that back in July and carried it into August. And guys, it was so good. Good Omens Season 2, I think, is equally as good as Season 1. I hear we're getting a Season 3, so eventually that will happen. And Neil Gaiman promised if Amazon Prime does not greenlight a Season 3, he'll write the book. So either way, we're going to get Good Omens Season 3, just whether it's in book form or actually on the screen. I cannot wait. It's going to be so good. We also finished watching Midnight Club. That's another horror series spearheaded by Mike Flanagan, who is just a fantastic director and producer, and I just absolutely loved Midnight Club. I did hear that the show got canceled, which is kind of a bummer because the ending could have led into a second season, but I do think it ended satisfyingly enough the way it was, so really enjoyed that one. We also finished watching Blue Lock, which is the soccer anime that we were watching. We finished watching The Mandalorian Season 3, and oh wow, the ending of Season 3 was just a blockbuster. I had so much fun watching it, and you should watch it too. If you haven't watched The Mandalorian at all, you are seriously missing out. It's on Disney Plus. Go watch it. At least add it to your list to watch later. I highly recommend. I also continued watching Downton Abbey. That's nothing new. My son and I continued watching Monster, which is a serial killer anime that is just fantastic. And he went back to college, so I can't watch it with him anymore, although he did tell me I could go ahead and finish it because he's already seen it, so I probably will do that at some point. We continued watching My Adventures with Superman, which is just a fantastic animated series. It's on HBO Max. Oh, well, I guess it's just called Max now, but you know, it's a great series. We also continued watching Season 5 of What We Do in the Shadows. And guys, that show is just so good. You've heard me talk about it before. I won't spend too much time on it, but it continues to be a lot of fun. And I've been continuing to watch Sherlock Holmes with my daughter. This is the TV show from the 1980s, early 90s with Jeremy Brett in the title role. I'm just so enjoying rewatching this series, letting my daughter see it for the first time, because we're huge Sherlock Holmes fans, and it's just a fantastic portrayal. We are about halfway through Season 3 at this point, and just absolutely love that show. And I love the time I'm spending with her watching it. And then eventually we are going to start watching Ahsoka. That's the Disney Plus series about the Star Wars character Ahsoka Tano. So yeah, we're eventually going to watch that. I do want to watch Foundation Season 2. I still have not gotten around to that, so at some point I will watch that. And also maybe Witcher Season 3. I do want to watch Witcher Season 3, but I just don't know if I'm going to get to it anytime soon. So now that we talked about that, I'm going to talk briefly about something that I started playing. And that is Pokemon Go. Yes, you heard me right. This is my first time ever playing Pokemon Go. I've never played it before. My daughter finally talked me into it. She decided that she wanted to go Poke hunting one weekend, and I'm just like, I think I should go ahead and bite the bullet, and she was so excited that I did, and I'm so excited that I did. I've been having a blast playing Pokemon Go, so that's really the only game that I've played. So I do hope to play some other games during the month of September. We'll just have to see how things go, because my priorities are always book reading and television, and Even though I enjoy playing games, I just don't get a lot of time to play them as I would like to. Specifically board games. Video games aren't that important to me, although I do enjoy them, but I wish I had more time to play more board games because that would be a lot of fun. And then, of course, we have Chasm Friends. I had one episode of Chasm Friends this month, and I was joined by the ever-amazing Buttercup crew, consisting of Nicole from Nicole's Bookish Nook, Adam from The Art of R, and Bad from Bad is Rad too. I had a great group discussion with them. We talked about all different sorts of things like books and art and theater, and it was just a really wonderful time. So if you have not watched that episode yet, you definitely need to, and you need to go and check out those awesome people. I will leave their channels linked below. And that's it, guys. That is my monthly update covering August and September. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below what your feelings are on all the stuff I've touched on today. Are you bored? Are you excited? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear what you think. And let me know some of the things that you did in August and what you got planned for September. Until next time, guys, make sure you read more books. We'll talk soon.